So you've heard about the 5 stages of grief, the 7 stages of life and human development. But have you heard of the 4 stages of floater adaptation? Don't worry if you haven't, because they're simply my observations and the observations of many of my patients that have gone through the same thing as they've come to terms with the new reality in their lives of floaters. In this video, I'm going to discuss what these stages are and how understanding the process can help you either come to terms with them faster and learn to live with them, or decide to take action and explore treatment options. Hi, if you're new here, I'm optometrist Martin Aguzi. I share eye knowledge to help you keep your eyes precious. I hope that you decide to join the community simply by hitting that subscribe button and the notification button as well. That way you'll be amongst the first to know and get responses to your comments whenever I release a new video. So as an optometrist with eye floaters myself, having eye floaters is no less frustrating for me at times. But for about 20 years or so now, from when I first noticed these floaters floating like a piece of fluff in front of my vision, and spent about 30 minutes or so trying to swat them before I realized that this was something that was going on inside my eyes rather than in front of my eyes. Reflecting back on that journey since beginning my career back in 2001 and examining tens of thousands of eyes over that time, I'm going to share with you the 4 F's of floater adaptation, as I call them, that I've observed to be the stages that we all suffer and typically go through when we notice floaters and our responses to them. So let's begin. The first F in stage 1 is fear. When I first noticed eye floaters as a student at university studying optometry, I already knew a little bit about eye floaters, but that didn't stop me from feeling fear all the same. And almost every patient that I've examined with new cases of eye floaters showed some level of fear for their eyes, regardless of their age when the floaters first appear. So it's quite normal to fear, and we all worry about whether our sight is in danger. And I used to worry all the time about whether my sight would last me into old age. And the second F and stage 2 is frustration. Now, once the prospect of living with eye floaters swarming around in your vision constantly for the rest of your life hits, it's a huge frustration and enough to get many people feeling really down or depressed. I mean, I felt like this myself for several weeks and months probably, because at the time I just felt frustrated at being so young but already facing the uncertainty of whether my eyes were actually healthy and whether they were going to remain healthy. All of these are real concerns that most non-sufferers just simply can't understand. So for many employees, for example, the frustration can be felt really heavily in the workplace if they have employers that just don't understand or care to understand their problems or help them in the workplace with changes that could make living with eye floaters at work a little bit easier. And my advice in this situation is always just to have a chat with your employer, let them know exactly what you're going through and see what they can do to help. So the worst thing you can do is be silent about it. Third F and stage 3 is forget. If you're lucky and your eye floaters aren't so intense in color, or they've moved out of the line of sight, you may find that you're able to forget about them enough to go on and live an uninterrupted life. Now, most sufferers do fall into this category. With time, they can forget about their eye floaters and get on with living. The eye floaters may be noticeable at times, but they're easy enough for the most part to ignore and just carry on doing the things that you need to do on a day-to-day basis. The stage 4 and the last stage is fixation. Now, this final stage is typically experienced by fewer people, but these individuals have it really bad, and it's simply very difficult for them to be able to ignore these eye floaters. So these individuals either have a lot of eye floaters, or they have eye floaters that are very close to the retina, creating a very intense appearance and intense shadow of the floaters on their eyes. What's sad is that because these individuals are in the minority, it can lead to these sufferers with more severe cases of eye floaters appearing like they're greatly exaggerating their problems as far as how bad and how severe the problem of eye floaters are for them. If you're someone that is stuck in this fixation stage, unable to forget about your eye floaters and live in peace, then it makes absolute sense for you to consider whether treatment options are appropriate for you. I'll leave a link to my previous videos on eye floater treatment options in the description box below for you to check out for more information on that. Now, ultimately, with the 4 F stages of eye floater adaptation that I've covered here, I want to reassure sufferers that as long as you've been checked out by your eye care professional, your eyes aren't harmed by the presence of eye floaters alone. And on top of that, the presence of initial floaters often takes years to progress to a larger number of them. So the other stress that people can have is whether they're going to wake up the next day and there's going to be lots of floaters in addition. So that's something that may take many years for a few more to build up. Now also, in nearly 25 years of working in primary eye care with tens of thousands of eyes examined, I don't think I've come across even about 50 cases of eye floaters that has developed into anything more sinister, more serious, like retinal detachments. Statistics are quite hard to find, but research does suggest that people who have eye floaters with symptoms such as flashing lights may have about a 9% risk of complications like retinal tears or retinal detachments. If you have a new episodes of eye floaters with the odd one or two without any other signs or symptoms, then your risk will be a lot less than this. And I'm guessing less than 1% if that. Look, the most important tip to know is that in the event of new eye floaters or significant changes in number of floaters that you have, you must act and get your retinas checked properly by an eye care professional. This is the way to get the initial peace of mind with new episodes of eye floaters. Beyond that, then you don't have to stress about them. Your eyes aren't going to fall apart, and it's actually a very, very common condition. For people who are having real problems with eye floaters and they can't get over the problems and they're stuck at that fixation stage, then it's definitely worth finding reputable people that you can have a discussion with about the different options for treatment, and taking on that advice and then deciding whether that's right for you. Now, if you've watched this whole video and you're still trying to figure out what am I even talking about, what are eye floaters, then I've got videos on the channel explaining in detail what eye floaters are. Now, until next time, check out the links in the description box below. Subscribe, like, and keep your eyes precious with more eye knowledge videos from me recommended by YouTube on this page.